Compared to the white-robed man before them, even the surrounding mosquito beasts had become far less frightening. If given a choice, they would rather fight to the death alongside the mosquito beasts than experience the bizarre scene they had just witnessed. After a long while, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze, rising into the air, accompanied by the mistakenly summoned Mosquito King and the thousands of mosquito beasts circling around Li Yuanlei and the others, howling as they gradually dispersed into the distance. This place is not where you should linger. Leave quickly. It was only after Wang Lin had departed that his words slowly reverberated through the air. Li Yuanlei and the others exchanged glances, a feeling of survival after the disaster overwhelming their minds and bodies. Reflecting on the earlier scenes, they no longer entertained any thoughts of staying. Their respect for Wang Lin had deepened. At this moment, they all bowed deeply in the direction where Wang Lin had left, then turned to swiftly transform into a streak of light and vanish into the distance. They had come here without truly grasping the mountain gate or the insights of the wind realm. The only things they took with them were the image of Wang Lin, with his white hair and robe, and the enduring sense of reverence. Additionally, there was the phrase, flowing moon. Flowing moon. Wang Lin murmured, seated atop a mosquito beast. His mind was filled with the sea of fading night, and now, there was an imposing stone gate as well. After the fading night, was the flowing moon. However, concerning this second divine ability, Wang Lin had not yet fully comprehended it, and needed to continue reflecting and testing to fully realize it. The time is too short. If it were to go on longer, perhaps I could completely master the rules of the 9th layer of time and eternity, but for now, the promise to the Origin Reunion sect is already imminent. Wang Lin silently glanced back at the world behind him. His recent insights had taken him 10 days, and the competition of the 8th tier sects had long since begun. Forget it. I'll leave in 3 days. Once I've dealt with matters concerning the Origin Reunion sect, I will once again explore the Wind Realm. Wang Lin's eyes sparkled, and he communicated a thought mentally. The speed of the surrounding mosquito beasts increased as they howled thunderously, speeding deeper into the Wind Immortal realm. I want to see just how many mosquito beasts are within this Wind Immortal realm. There was a glint in Wang Lin's eyes as he, accompanied by thousands of mosquito beasts, soared like a crimson cloud straight into the depths of the Wind Realm. During this journey, Wang Lin did not restrict the speed of the mosquito beasts. Instead, he made intricate hand signs along the way, continuously imprinting countless restrictions on himself, sealing off his aura completely. In just a few hours, his hands hardly paused, and the number of restrictions within him grew rapidly until they densely covered his body. Only then did he feel at ease, rushing toward the interior of the Wind Immortal realm alongside the mosquito beasts. As the howls of the mosquito beasts pierced through the whistling wind, gradually, Wang Lin passed through the periphery of this place, stepping into the heart of the Wind Realm. A day later, the fragmented lands appeared one by one before Wang Lin's eyes. The various continents differed in size and exuded endless desolation. Here, few cultivators had ever set foot. As he moved forward, the fierce winds grew stronger, and Wang Lin saw groups of mosquito beasts rushing past him. While most of these mosquito beasts were red, among the thousands in a single group, there were nearly 1,000 blue mosquito beasts, with white mosquito beasts concealed within. As they flew by, Wang Lin decided against summoning them with the Mosquito King, for the presence of the white mosquito beasts made success seem unlikely. Moreover, the most important factor was that the mosquito beasts here were closely spaced. If he summoned a group among them, it was likely that before he could complete the summoning, more mosquito beasts would arrive. Focusing his mind, Wang Lin distinctly sensed the faint tremors from the Mosquito King beneath him and the cold gleam in its eyes. He gently patted the Mosquito King's head with his right hand, causing it to let out a low growl and accelerate, taking the surrounding mosquito beast away swiftly. Gradually, the number of mosquito beasts he observed increased. Instead of just a few thousand, there were now nearly 10,000, with even more blue mosquito beasts. There were even hundreds of white mosquito beasts. Witnessing this spectacle, Wang Lin took a deep breath, the hair on his neck prickling slightly. Fortunately, amidst the howling of these mosquito beasts, there was no sign of any slowing down. They moved with the wind, almost as if playing in it. Yet, the continuous cries in the air could shock the hearts and minds of anyone who heard them. This was not even the deepest part of the Wind Realm, merely the internal edges, yet the number of mosquito beasts had already reached well over 100,000 in the waves that passed through. If I could control these mosquito beasts. A peculiar gleam appeared in Wang Lin's eyes as he, alongside the Mosquito King, sped deeper into the heart of the realm. At that moment, the Mosquito King suddenly jolted, its forward speed abruptly reducing, eyes gleaming with ferocity as it fixed its gaze ahead. In the distance on the horizon, two purple mosquito beasts soared towards them. Strangely, these two purple mosquito beasts were pressed together, making it difficult to discern that they were two separate entities without a careful look. A powerful aura, one that was nearing the first decay of heaven and man, surged from the two shrieking purple mosquito beasts. As they passed by, all surrounding mosquito beasts were forced to retreat. Ahead of them, tens of thousands of mosquito beasts moved with the wind. But as soon as they saw the two purple mosquito beasts, they let out shrill cries and immediately parted, creating a path for the two behemoths to charge through. One red mosquito beast, slower to react, failed to avoid them in time. Before it could move, the two purple mosquito beasts crashed into it. With a deafening roar, the red mosquito beast exploded, its body turning into a cloud of blood and flesh. The two purple mosquito beasts showed no sign of slowing down. After smashing through the red mosquito beast, they continued their charge, sweeping across the edge of the beast horde beside Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze flickered as he watched the two purple mosquito beasts fade into the distance. After a long pause, he turned and silently guided the Mosquito King and its swarm forward. As they moved deeper into the Wind Realm, Wang Lin calculated that he had already seen tens of thousands of mosquito beasts along the way. Eventually, he saw the three floating continents at the heart of the Wind Realm. Surrounding the three continents were 9 other continents, arranged in a circular formation as if protecting the inner 3. These 9 continents were incredibly strange, with varying colors: red on the outside, blue in the middle, white further in, purple deeper still, and at the center, gold. These were just the outer 9 continents. The 3 inner continents were cloaked by an eerie force, distorting Wang Lin's vision so that he couldn't see them clearly. Just as he fixed his gaze on them, the heavens seemed to shake, and the ground rumbled. The closest of the 9 continents began to tremble violently, and an indescribable aura erupted from it. At the same moment, the continent shook with such force that its outer edges collapsed, releasing countless red mosquito beasts, which manifested from the shattered land. These beasts, exuding murderous intent and emitting a terrifying, earth-shattering buzz, spread out in all directions. Next, countless blue mosquito beasts surged from the continent, followed by white and purple mosquito beasts. Finally, under a golden light, dozens of golden mosquito beasts appeared with a roar. This scene sent a chill down Wang Lin's spine, freezing his breath. What he saw before him was not a continent. It was a massive landmass created by hundreds of thousands, even millions, of mosquito beasts, all merged together. At this moment, the land didn't tremble or collapse. It was the mosquito beasts themselves moving, scattering with the force of a storm, overwhelming the heavens and the earth. Without witnessing the sight of hundreds of thousands of mosquito beasts, no one could understand the sheer magnitude of the shock. These mosquito beasts were already large, but when their numbers reached such a scale, they blotted out the sky. Wang Lin even felt as though the entire Wind Realm could not contain so many mosquito beasts. He could not see the edges. All that lay before him was a sea of mosquito beasts. At this moment, even the Mosquito King beneath him trembled, as did Wang Lin. The surrounding space was filled with countless mosquito beasts. How many exactly, Wang Lin could not even guess. The previous estimate of tens of thousands had only been a rough sense. It could be more, or it could be less. But no matter what, anyone who saw these mosquito beasts, even a third-step cultivator, would undoubtedly feel their mind shudder and their scalp tingle. Suddenly, the mass of mosquito beasts occupying the sky split apart, revealing the 3 protected continents deep within the Wind Realm. The strange force surrounding them seemed to twist, allowing for a clearer view. Wang Lin saw a sight that would haunt him forever. His face paled, and without hesitation, he sent out his divine sense, guiding the Mosquito King and the swarm to retreat quickly. Above the 3 continents, there was a vast rift in the heavens, as if the sky had been torn apart, creating an incomprehensible gap. An overwhelming pressure radiated from this rift, and then a massive mosquito beast, its body tens of thousands of feet long, slowly began to emerge from it, struggling as though trying to break free. Half of this colossal mosquito beast's body was now exposed, its terrifying mouthparts large enough to pierce through an entire cultivation star and drain it dry. As it struggled, a roar echoed through the entire Wind Immortal realm, sending shockwaves that reverberated across the land. At this moment, the entire Wind Immortal realm trembled violently, and the earth itself seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. All surrounding mosquito beasts quivered, as if worshipping the giant that emerged from the rift. Even Wang Lin's Mosquito King, as it retreated, showed signs of struggle. But it had been with Wang Lin for many years, and as a rebellious cultivator, it was no ordinary mosquito beast. It was a mosquito beast that defied the norm. In the midst of this overwhelming pressure and the earth-shattering roar, Wang Lin's Mosquito King immediately began to shimmer with golden light, its body flickering wildly. It suddenly turned and let out a howl towards the giant mosquito beast that was about to enter the rift. This howl was filled with madness, reluctance, and the dignity of being a Mosquito King. In that moment, in the Wind Realm where no other mosquito beast emitted a similar howl, Wang Lin's Mosquito King's screech, though faint, was still earth-shattering. The Mosquito King stared furiously at the giant mosquito beast struggling to break free from the rift. In its eyes, a fierce desire and a blazing red light flickered. It could clearly feel that the giant Mosquito King in the rift possessed the purest blood of their kind. This blood held a deadly attraction for Wang Lin's Mosquito King, and it longed to taste it, even just a drop. This yearning thought transferred to Wang Lin's heart, causing him to fall into a brief moment of contemplation. The surrounding mosquito beasts were too many to count, but the atmosphere of those blue, white, and purple mosquito beasts was terrifying. Their presence was enough to make any cultivator tremble in fear. Moving forward would seem impossible, and even retreat would feel like a dead end. As Wang Lin's Mosquito King let out its sudden screech, every mosquito beast in the vicinity immediately locked its gaze onto it, focusing on Wang Lin's Mosquito King hidden within the swarm. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and with a firm bite of his teeth, he sent a mental command. His Mosquito King immediately screeched again, its body surging forward with a burst of pale golden light. In that instant, the surrounding swarm of mosquito beasts all screeched in unison. The red, blue, and white mosquito beasts didn't advance. Even the white mosquito beasts hesitated at the perimeter. This was a battle between Mosquito Kings. They were not allowed to intervene. But among the countless mosquito beasts, a group of purple mosquito beasts suddenly flashed with cold light in their eyes. They surged forward, with thousands of purple mosquito beasts roaring towards Wang Lin's Mosquito King. At that moment, Wang Lin, who had initially stayed hidden within the swarm, retracted all his aura, but upon seeing those purple mosquito beasts, his eyes sparkled with a sharp glint. Without hesitation, he took a step forward. With every step, thunder roared. Wang Lin broke out of the mosquito swarm and appeared before the endless sea of mosquito beasts. The instant his figure appeared, the surrounding mosquito beasts all let out intense screeches, and a terrifying killing intent erupted from them. In this maelstrom of fury, with the constant screeching of mosquito beasts and the booming rush of their charge, Wang Lin took his second step, landing on the back of his Mosquito King. He raised his right hand, grasping the air. Instantly, black lightning surged from the heavens, materializing into a massive trident in his grasp. At the same time, Wang Lin's Mosquito King held again, its expression turning ferocious. The Mosquito King's pressure exploded outward, and with it, the world seemed to tremble. The air shook with the force, as if a furious ocean wave was about to drown the mosquito beasts, causing the entire swarm to halt. The red, blue, and white mosquito beasts stopped, as it was an unwritten rule. Only Mosquito Kings could fight, and only those of purple rank and above were allowed to participate in such battles. Though they stopped, the thousands of purple mosquito beasts charged forward madly, their sharp, fishy winds rushing toward Wang Lin and his Mosquito King. These purple mosquito beasts were fast, their auras resembling the power of those at the perfect shattered nirvana stage, and in the blink of an eye, they were almost upon them. Wang Lin's white hair fluttered as his right hand swept the trident through the air. Boom, boom. The ancient, godly power coursed through his body, especially concentrated in his brow, where the star of law shimmered. With the trident's sweep, thunder roared across the heavens. A blue sea of flames erupted from the trident's sweep. Charge! Wang Lin shouted in a low voice. His Mosquito King immediately screeched, as if echoing its master's will. The Mosquito King lunged forward, its pale golden light blazing like a sun. The piercing lights spread like swords, and the Mosquito King charged ahead. With a whistle, the nearest purple mosquito beast surged forward. Its massive mandibles, powerful enough to rival any artifact, aimed directly at Wang Lin, ready to suck him dry with just one strike. As the purple mosquito beast closed in, Wang Lin's right hand swept the trident. Thunder roared and struck down upon the purple mosquito beast with a deafening boom, relentlessly crashing into its body. With a thunderous roar, Wang Lin didn't hesitate. He swung the trident in his right hand and quickly turned, thrusting it lightning fast at a purple mosquito beast charging from behind. At the same time, blue flames erupted suddenly, forming a massive mouth at the tip of the trident, which immediately devoured the purple mosquito beast. After all, the mosquito beast was still a beast, not a human, and couldn't wield magical treasures. Despite its power, comparable to that of a shattered nirvana cultivator, in a true battle, it was still inferior to a cultivator at that stage. The Mosquito King beneath Wang Lin's feet was even more agile as it charged forward, dodging several incoming purple mosquito beasts. Just as it was about to move forward, another purple mosquito beast appeared in front, blocking its path with a fierce, snarling charge. Wang Lin's mosquito beast's eyes flashed with a fierce light, its body glowing with golden light. Exuding the oppressive aura of a beast king, it collided head-on with the purple mosquito beast. A thunderous crash rang out, shaking the heavens. Wang Lin felt a tremor beneath him as the purple mosquito beast was forcefully knocked back, flying dozens of feet, though it remained unharmed. In fact, it became even more savage, its body enveloped in celestial energy, as if preparing to unleash a divine ability, much like a cultivator would. Wang Lin's Mosquito King, however, was severely wounded. Blood flowed from its many injuries, especially around its mandibles, where a deep crack had formed. The intense pain drove it into a frenzy, its golden antennae standing on end as it let out a roar and charged again. All of this happened in an instant, too fast to follow. Since Wang Lin had decided to help his mosquito beast absorb the vast amount of Mosquito King blood, he would not retreat. Despite the immense danger, there was still a sliver of hope. For that glimmer of hope, and for his Mosquito King's longing, Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. He let out a roar, leaping into the air. As he did, his body emitted a rumbling sound like thunder, rapidly expanding. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into a giant hundreds of feet tall. The trident in his hand grew proportionally as his body swelled, eventually reaching hundreds of feet in length as well. As the ancient god form appeared, a unique aura, characteristic of an ancient god, erupted with a deafening roar. In that instant, the world trembled. Wang Lin's entire strength coalesced into his right hand, and he hurled the trident forward with immense force. A thunderous roar reverberated through the heavens as the enormous trident shot forward like an enraged dragon, charging toward the cracks surrounded by numerous mosquito beasts. The trident contained Wang Lin's ancient god power, infused with the intent of the Star of Law. As it was hurled, thunderclouds gathered around it, creating countless thunderballs that crackled and exploded. A sea of blue flames engulfed the trident, and the intense heat caused even the purple mosquito beasts to retreat. More astonishingly, within the trident, Wang Lin's divine ability as a cultivator swirled, harnessing the power of heaven and earth and transforming into the Bi-Fan immortal art. At that moment, the entire world seemed to be on the brink of the apocalypse. The surrounding mosquito beasts paused for an instant. In that fleeting moment, Wang Lin seized his Mosquito King and hurled it forward once again. The Mosquito King, now glowing with pale golden light, propelled forward with Wang Lin's strength, breaking through the path created by the trident. It moved with unstoppable force, constantly screeching as it used its aura of authority to force the surrounding mosquito beasts to hesitate and fall back. The trident broke through the encirclement of the purple mosquito beasts, charging into the sea of golden mosquito beasts surrounding the crack. However, just ahead of it, an invisible wave spread out, colliding with the trident, creating a thunderous noise. As it did, countless ancient runes appeared in the air. The trident's momentum came to a halt before the runes, but Wang Lin's Mosquito King surged forward, its eyes locked on the massive crack beyond the hundreds of golden mosquito beasts. These golden mosquito beasts were about to block its path when the Mosquito King, glowing with golden light as if burning, let out a deafening roar. At the moment of its roar, a crackling sound echoed from its body, as if it were about to collapse. Yet, the blood spilling from its wounds was no longer red. It had turned gold. The golden blood spread and seeped into its wounds, emanating an overwhelming aura. In that moment, an enormous illusory figure appeared around the Mosquito King, a phantom of a mosquito beast that was tens of thousands of feet tall. This phantom radiated dark golden light. In the instant it appeared, every mosquito beast in the vicinity, whether red, blue, white, purple, or even the golden mosquito beast trying to stop it, trembled with fear. Even the massive Mosquito King, struggling to emerge from the crack, shuddered. For the first time, it truly looked at Wang Lin's mosquito beast. Wang Lin stared blankly at the scene before him. At that moment, as the golden mosquito beast radiated golden light and a gigantic Mosquito King phantom appeared above it, he clearly felt a shimmering golden glow emanating from his own body. The multitude of mosquito beasts that had attacked him earlier suddenly stopped, their eyes revealing an expression of awe as they recoiled in unison. A deafening roar echoed in Wang Lin's mind. In that instant, he recalled the first time he had encountered the mosquito beast on Vermilion Bird Star. He vaguely understood why mosquito beasts appeared there, and why only this one was present. As the phantom emerged, the golden mosquito beast ahead showed signs of fear and quickly retreated, not daring to obstruct Wang Lin's Mosquito King, which surged forward like a golden meteor toward the rift. Within the rift, the enormous Mosquito King displayed a grave expression and let out a screech. Its body struggled even more violently, half trapped within the rift while the other half remained outside, desperately caught and roaring in a ferocious struggle. The noise echoed as the rift trembled, revealing signs as if it might be torn open again. Wang Lin's Mosquito King, glowing with golden radiance, swept in like a meteor, refusing to give the giant Mosquito King even a chance to break free. Its massive mouthparts were poised to pierce into its opponent's body. The enormous Mosquito King roared in agony, its furious struggles generating a cacophony, and as it convulsed, the world seemed to distort, creating numerous ripples around its body. In that fleeting moment, the massive dark golden mosquito beast phantom that emerged around Wang Lin let out a sudden wail. Its gigantic mouth swept forward and, in a thunderous crash, tore through the endless ripples, landing squarely on the giant Mosquito King stuck within the rift. The Mosquito King inside the rift shook violently. In that split second, as Wang Lin's mosquito beast approached, its figure seemed to blend with the phantasmal giant mosquito beast behind it. As the dark golden mosquito beast's mouthparts swept past, its own mouthparts instinctively moved with a loud pop, plunging into the immense Mosquito King trapped in the rift. Compared to that Mosquito King, Wang Lin's mosquito beast was insignificant, but its mouthparts nonetheless plunged in fiercely, eyes gleaming with greed and desire as it inhaled sharply. With that one gulp, the giant Mosquito King erupted in a deafening roar, its body going into a frenzied struggle, and the rift that trapped it tore open further. With another hearty inhalation, Wang Lin's mosquito beast, once injured, suddenly healed, its wounds vanishing, and its golden glow intensifying. Its yearning eyes flared, and it inhaled again. This time, the massive Mosquito King howled with tremendous force. As it struggled, it unleashed a powerful momentum that swept outwards, directly shaking Wang Lin's mosquito beast away. In that instant, as the giant Mosquito King strained, the rift that trapped it was violently torn open. In the blink of an eye, more than half of its body surged out, seemingly about to break free completely. An overwhelming aura of menace, comparable to the primordial essence, filled the air in that moment. Wang Lin's mosquito beast screeched and quickly retreated, its blurred phantasmal figure dissolving into its body. As it withdrew, all the surrounding mosquito beasts stepped aside, seemingly too terrified to impede its retreat. Wang Lin's gaze flickered. He reached out into the void and summoned his trident back into his hand. His form quickly shrank down until he became an ordinary person, landing atop his Mosquito King's back as it sped away. At that moment, the other 8 continents encircling the 3 continental guardians shook violently in response to the roaring of the enormous Mosquito King from within the rift, as countless mosquito beasts began to pour out. These 9 lands were all composed entirely of mosquito beasts. The number of mosquito beasts in the heavens and earth had reached an extraordinarily terrifying count. Wang Lin could not calculate the exact number, but felt there were undoubtedly over 1 million, creating chaos about him. The Mosquito King beneath him inhaled 2 mouthfuls of blood, its golden light flashing intensely. As it retreated, it howled skyward, its oppressive presence stronger than before, cascading down upon the surroundings. Suddenly, amongst the red mosquito beasts nearby, nearly 10,000 began to tremble. Being the closest to Wang Lin's mosquito beast, they quaked in awe, their fear deepening. In the end, they let out a roaring call and surrounded Wang Lin's mosquito beast, forming a cloud of red that swiftly carried him and the Mosquito King away. Even nearly 1,000 blue mosquito beasts seemed to make a choice under this pressure. They charged out from the swarm and entered the red cloud, their cries echoing in harmony with the Mosquito King. Not far away, Among the white mosquito beasts, nearly 100 quivered as they struggled between the rift and Wang Lin's speeding Mosquito King. Ultimately, they roared and burst forth, transforming into a white cloud to follow Wang Lin's Mosquito King. If that were all there was to it, it would have been fine. However, among the few purple mosquito beasts present, two displayed hesitation, one of which was the very one that had just collided with the Mosquito King, Wang Lin. No longer hesitant, its eyes now shone with determination as it darted forward like a purple comet, heading straight for Wang Lin's Mosquito King. The moment Wang Lin spotted that purple mosquito beast, his eyes lit up with excitement. The aura surrounding this purple mosquito beast was comparable to that of a perfect shattered nirvana stage. Before Wang Lin's joy could subside, another surprise flooded his heart. At the instant the purple mosquito beast soared towards him, a pale purple mosquito beast came screeching in close behind, choosing to follow. Wang Lin took a deep breath, suppressing his exhilaration. This journey was worth it. Just then, an astonishing scene unfolded before him, causing his pupils to contract in disbelief. A gold mosquito beast, among the few hundred that were completely golden, shot out in an instant, charging straight for Wang Lin's Mosquito King. Wang Lin burst into laughter as he swept forward with the flurry of mosquito beasts, racing towards the distance alongside his Mosquito King. In the vast expanse of the red clouds above, blue, white, purple, and gold mosquito beasts stood out vividly. These mosquito beasts unleashed their full speed, howling as they flew forth, while the surrounding swarm dared not obstruct them, watching as they receded into the distance. After a long while, a thunderous screech, laden with fury, echoed back as a massive rift was violently torn open, revealing the colossal Mosquito King emerging from within. As it burst forth, the surrounding mosquito beasts immediately released a shocked roar that shook the heavens. The gigantic Mosquito King's eyes blazed with overwhelming fury as it abruptly turned, fixating on the faraway mosquito swarm that had vanished from sight. With a fierce roar, it surged forward, trailing waves of energy as it pursued at a breakneck speed. At its motion, the million-strong mosquito swarm erupted behind it, surging forth like a tidal wave, shrouding the skies in darkness as they rushed after it. In that moment, the entire Wind Immortal realm was engulfed in a cloud of chaos, the ground shaking, and countless cracks forming in the sky, accompanied by booming echoes. The boundless swarm of mosquito beasts created a stunning spectacle, spreading wildly. Beneath him, the Mosquito King, accompanied by tens of thousands of mosquito beasts, was now racing through heaven and earth, employing their full speed in a frantic escape. They had reached the limit of their velocity, sweeping past towards the outskirts, heading straight for the exit leading to the Cloud Sea's 8th Order star domain. Several hours later, while the swarm was still in full flight, Wang Lin stood on the back of the Mosquito King. He suddenly turned to look back and saw, far in the distance, a mass of crimson clouds, accompanied by roaring sounds, faintly mixed with the echoes of a formation crumbling. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, his eyes glinting coldly as he raised his right hand to quickly arrange a multitude of restrictive formations behind him. As the mosquito swarm advanced, Wang Lin set up countless restrictive arrays in the sky. Thanks to the continuous collapse of these formations, the swarm managed to maintain their relentless speed without any halt. However, the pursuing mosquito beasts were drawing nearer, the raging winds bringing with them a putrid scent. Wang Lin's gaze flickered as he channeled his divine sense into the immortal sealing seal, merging with the soul of Tian Yunzi. In an instant, Wang Lin's aura underwent a drastic change, his expression becoming calm as if everything in this world lay within his calculations. Slow and steady, he reached out with his right hand, and as a storage rift appeared, a stone orb flew out from within. Simultaneously, the stone orb in his right hand began to glow with 7 radiant colors, each hue becoming more vivid until it shone blindingly bright. Wang Lin threw the orb forward, and it appeared to absorb all the radiance, only to suddenly erupt with a thunderous bang. At the moment of the explosion, Wang Lin's calm voice echoed through heaven and earth. Summon, rebellious ones. As his voice rang out, the sky of the wind realm darkened as if night had fallen, but just a moment later, an endless burst of 7-colored light erupted, enveloping the ground and sending a powerful pressure cascading down from the heavens. Then, a giant compass materialized with a thunderous roar, measuring about 1,000 feet in size. Upon its emergence, its 7-colored gleam was dazzling, and it began to spin rapidly, blocking the path between Wang Lin and the pursuing swarm of mosquitoes. As it spun, a vast force spread throughout the area. Wang Lin's gaze shifted as he separated his consciousness from Tian Yunzi's soul. His complexion was slightly pale, After all, he was severely injured and had yet to fully recover. Rather than watching the outcome of this rebellious divine ability, he extended his arms, allowing thick black energy to envelop him. With a sweep, several black dragons roared into existence, swirling around the tens of thousands of mosquito beasts and harnessing the energies of heaven and earth as they continued to race away. Before long, a booming sound thundered from behind him, shaking the very foundations of heaven and earth. The fierce winds twisted and turned wildly, yet Wang Lin did not look back. Instead, he pressed on fiercely with the mosquito beasts in tow. Gradually, he reached the outskirts of the wind realm. The exit was not far. Just a few hours more, and he could leave this place. Throughout the journey, he unleashed his divine abilities, constantly fending off the relentless pursuit of the mosquito swarm. Ultimately, however, he could not delay them long enough to escape. At this moment, hundreds of miles behind him, an endless sea of mosquito beasts surged forth. From above, one could clearly see that these creatures nearly occupied the entire Wind Immortal realm, flowing like a torrent toward Wang Lin. Among the mosquito horde, a colossal mosquito king, towering tens of thousands of feet, fixed its gaze on the front, its roar shaking the heavens. Wang Lin furrowed his brow, a glimmer of cold light flashing in his eyes. He stepped onto the back of the mosquito king, raising his right hand and reaching out to the void ahead. Years ago, he had opened a storage space and now he was about to create a second one, a space dedicated to holding mosquito beasts. This new storage would need ample immortal power and primordial energy. Fortunately, Wang Lin had plenty of both. He possessed a substantial number of primordial crystals and immortal jades. As he grasped with his right hand, a rippling sound echoed around him as a massive gap suddenly appeared in the air, approximately 1,000 feet wide. As soon as it emerged, a chilling wind blew out from within. Wang Lin's rule star at his brow spun, and thunder roared forth, encircling the edges of the gap and flickering to stabilize it. Simultaneously, blue flames erupted, sweeping into the rift and incinerating the chilling atmosphere, thereby expanding the space. Next, he took out immortal jades and primordial crystals, tossing them into the newly opened rift, which quickly filled with enough immortal yuan power. All of this happened in an instant, consuming none of Wang Lin's time. After the new storage rift was completed, as directed by his divine sense, the mosquito king beneath him let out a shrill cry. As the call echoed, tens of thousands of mosquito beasts surged into the rift, and as Wang Lin continued to advance, the number of beasts around him steadily diminished. Eventually, all of them entered the rift, including the two purple mosquito beasts and the golden mosquito beast. The Mosquito King was the last to enter. Before plunging in, it glanced back at Wang Lin and then sank into the rift. Once every last mosquito beast had entered, Wang Lin waved his right hand, and the rift vanished. Now, in the Wind Immortal realm, he was left alone. Behind him, the endless swarm of mosquitoes relentlessly pursued, getting closer by the moment. Wang Lin took a deep breath and retrieved a speed rune, applying it to himself without hesitation. His essence spirit surged, disregarding his injuries, as a shattered nirvana aura enveloped his entire body, merging with the ancient god power. He turned to gaze at the pursuing mosquito horde, particularly locking eyes on the enormous Mosquito King. Wang Lin felt a surge of doubt. Its strength was formidable enough to shock any cultivator, yet it hadn't demonstrated any divine abilities and appeared unremarkable in speed. However, this was not the time for contemplation. Wang Lin's eyes flickered, and he suddenly charged forward. As he burst forth, waves of energy rippled out from his body, and he stepped forward. In an instant, he became intangible, disappearing without a trace. Shrinking Earth Technique. In the Cloud Sea Star Domain, this was the first time Wang Lin had executed this major divine ability, Shrinking Earth Technique. The Sea of Clouds was filled with star mist, and a strange force blanketed the area, nearly nullifying the effect of his technique. This was precisely why, among the other star domain cultivators, so few understood the Shrinking Earth Technique. In the Cloud Sea, very few had managed to grasp it. The environment shaped one's perspective, influenced mental resonance, and dictated the direction of divine abilities. If the other three major star domains were similarly shrouded in star mist, it was unlikely that anyone could comprehend the Shrinking Earth Technique. After all, this divine ability was essentially useless to them. Even if someone did comprehend it, it wouldn't benefit the Cloud Sea cultivators, as there was no suitable place for its application. Even within the Wind Immortal realm, this technique was severely impeded. Yet, the shrinking earth technique was the only means for survival in the Wind Immortal realm. Despite disturbances preventing meaningful movements over long distances, and the difficulty of merging with heaven and earth without a precise mental target, there was a definite risk of appearing within a swarm of mosquitoes, a perilous situation. Indeed, the safest way to employ the shrinking earth technique was to think of a location one had seen before. Only then could one truly integrate with the world and arrive at the desired destination. In fact, Wang Lin's thoughts were extremely correct. Within the Wind Immortal realm, it wasn't that no one had ventured into the depths. Anyone who had come here did, so using the shrinking earth technique, and had to proceed with extreme caution. Furthermore, there were very few people in the Sea of Clouds who had mastered this technique, making it incredibly rare for someone to truly step into this place. At this moment, what Wang Lin had in mind was the rift leading out of the Wind Immortal realm. As his figure disappeared, the power of heaven and earth spread out, and the earth-shattering howls of the mosquito beasts gradually faded away. It felt as if he had entered a strange state, where his body transformed into nothingness, with no sensation of existence, as though he had become a part of heaven and earth. The rift he was thinking of grew clearer and clearer, eventually occupying his entire mind. Although it seemed slow, in reality, it took no more than an instant. When the sense of non-existence returned to normal, his figure stepped out. The moment his foot landed, the power of heaven and earth gathered, and his body quickly transformed. By the time his step touched the ground, his body had already solidified. Before him stood the rift that led from the Wind Realm to the Cloud Sea's 8th Order star domain. Looking back, the sky still echoed with lingering waves. From a great distance, a faint, roaring sound seemed to isolate the flow of time. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. His body swayed, and he charged into the rift, leaving the Wind Immortal realm. At the moment of his departure from the Wind Realm, deep inside the Wind Realm, on one of the 3 continents being guarded, the petrified elder statue on one of them suddenly revealed a bright gleam in its eyes. "This time, I'll help you. Next time, you'll have to help me." Wang Lin stepped out of the Immortal Realm rift and saw the familiar star mist outside the 8th Order star domain. He felt somewhat uncomfortable. After all, within the Immortal Realm, there was no mist, and one could see very far. But in this sea of clouds, it was hard to penetrate the star mist. Wuji sect. Wang Lin's body swayed as he entered the sea of clouds, heading straight for the Wuji sect, guided by the vast memories of countless jade slips in his mind. In this trip to the Wind Immortal realm, I obtained many mosquito beasts. Although it's still not enough, if my injuries heal, I should be able to escape if I cooperate with the Mosquito King in front of Tuasin. As long as I'm given some more time and the Mosquito King evolves, I can obtain even more mosquito beasts. At the Wuji sect in the 8th Order star domain, on a platform that occupied nearly half of a planet, a competition was taking place for the 5th Order star domain branch sect. The Violet Dao sect was almost sweeping the floor, with no branch sect able to resist it. The platform was filled with rumbling sounds that attracted the attention of nearly 100,000 cultivators surrounding it. Discussions filled the air as Wuji sect's Feng Hai and others sat in the innermost seats. Beside him was a red-haired elder, and some major cultivators from the Wuji sect were also accompanying him. At the top of the viewing platform, an elderly man in white robes pointed at the battle on the platform, where disciples of the Violet Dao sect clashed with another disciple from a 5th Order branch sect, and smiled, saying, "The Violet Dao sect has risen in recent years, and Lu Yunsong has made great contributions. Fellow Taoist Wang, this time the divine sect must not let Lu Yunsong leave." The elderly man in white was dignified, exuding an aura of nobility. His eyes gleamed with sharpness every time they opened and closed. His cultivation was formidable, unmistakably radiating the aura of someone in the shattered nirvana stage. Next to this elder sat 2 women, both extraordinarily beautiful, especially the one dressed in purple, whose beauty could captivate anyone who saw her. Yet, there was an icy coldness about her, as though nothing in the world could stir her or weaken her resolve. Her beauty was of a transcendent kind, like that of a true immortal. Though she sat there coldly, she drew the gaze of every cultivator around her. However, this woman's indifference made her seem out of place, giving off a sense of loneliness in her aloofness. She was like a solitary lily blooming in a desolate valley, as if a stranger in a foreign land. Everything around her seemed unfamiliar, and nothing felt familiar to her. Beside her sat another woman, whose appearance, though slightly less striking, still had a delicate beauty and a gentle demeanor that immediately evoked a sense of compassion. When this woman smiled, it was like a white flower in full bloom, enchanting everyone who saw it. She chuckled lightly, her eyes sparkling. Her voice was as sweet as a warbler, and she said, "Sect Master, you flatter me. I only heard my master speak highly of Lu Yunkong. Whether he joins the divine sect is not something I can decide." The elderly man in white smiled slightly, no longer bringing up the matter. Instead, he chatted casually with her, occasionally glancing at the cold woman, though he could not discern her identity. At this moment, on the platform within the Violet Dao sect, Lu Yunsong stepped out. As the sect master, he was also one of the participants in the battle. Dressed in a purple robe, Lu Yunsong appeared extremely graceful, his imposing figure subtly revealing a hint of majesty. Standing there, he resembled a towering peak. Opposite him stood the sect master of a fifth-tier branch sect. The old man was dressed in black, his expression extremely grim. Lu Yunsong is quite impressive. It's no wonder he has earned the admiration of our master. Although his cultivation is not high, his presence on the platform subtly merges with heaven and earth, suggesting an extraordinarily high realm of comprehension. His understanding of the Tao is profound, Wang Shanshan whispered to the woman beside her while watching Lu Yunsong on the platform. Mu Bingmei, who had no interest in the branch sect competition of the Cloud Sea Star domain, would not have come here had Wang Shanshan not suggested it. Her eyes briefly scanned Lu Yunsong on the platform before she said flatly, "He is a distinguished figure." For some reason, as she gazed at Lu Yunsong, another figure appeared in her mind. "Oh, in your place, people like Lu Yunsong must be quite common, right?" Wang Shanshan blinked and smiled. "Not many." Mu Bingmei seemed unwilling to continue the conversation. "I find this Lu Yunsong quite intriguing. He has cultivated for over 3,000 years, never relying on any pills. 1,000 years spent seeking the peak, 1,000 years in the glimpse of nirvana, and another 1,000 years in pure nirvana. His insights into the Tao are profound. Even Li Qianmei, Taoist from the Breaking Heaven sect, once sought the Tao with him. I wonder, in the place where Taoist Mu comes from, do they have such individuals?" The speaker was not the old man in white, but a middle-aged man sitting nearby. Mu Bingmei remained silent. After a long pause, as if reminiscing, she softly replied, "I know of someone. He achieved core formation in 200 years, infant metamorphosis in 500 years, sought the peak in 800 years, and reached the yin-yang void in 1,000 years. Before I left, he had cultivated for less than 2,000 years and was already at the early pure nirvana stage. In his life, his understanding of the Tao allowed him to see through life and death and transform cause and effect. Few in the world could compare to him. Lu Yunsong might have higher cultivation, but as for the Tao, he falls short. Even in a battle to the death, he would still not measure up.